All right, it wouldn't be Dimension 119 if we weren't late as usual. But you know what? We're here. That's what matters. Thank you, Jarl, very much for subscribing for 8 months. I cannot... Guys, it's been 8 months since affiliate on the channel. Like, I know we were streaming some before that. We've been streaming like a year and a half, a little over a year and a half. But we've been affiliates for 8 months now. Can you believe that? My scene didn't change either, so no one can see. There we go. It wouldn't be Dimension 119 if things weren't scuffed either, so, All right, Kevin, let's turn it over to you already, and let's get things rolling and get things started, so I can shut up, and since we're late.
You're muted.
Yes, welcome everyone. It's great to have everyone back and ready to play our Middle-earth game. We missed a few just towards the end of the last year, just through commitments of everyone and Nathan not being bothered, just letting people down. This one, I don't know.
I'm trying to that one.
You're pointing at on stream, Ray. Just so you know, you're either pointing at the wall or at Kevin.
I'm trying. Is it this one?
Charlie's pointing at Ray.
On my screen, I'm pointing at the other Nate. Like,
listen, we're in the same spot every week.
Just watch the stream and memorize which way to point.
But it has been we've all been looking forward to getting back into the game and building some momentum. Hopefully, it's great to have Charlie back with us, and we can look to get ready. I don't know if anyone wants to do a recap, or if you'd like me to do the recap this week. You can all start with a point of inspiration anyway.
Nice. I need it.
Yeah.
I got two because I left us on a cliffhanger last time.
So, the two party members, the party as it is, the Fellowship, was heading west along the road from the region that people know of Rivendell. Our two human characters, Marikar and Damrod, were traveling in a caravan going west towards Bree. Damrod the Ranger had joined and was allowed into the group simply because those that travel the roads know how the Rangers really are guides and protectors of those in the wilderness. Maybe still suspicious of him, but they allowed him in. Our two elven companions, Aurelian and Rook Mablung, they were heading separately to the caravan, and being on horseback, they began to approach and catch up to the caravan itself. However, I think it was Rook and Aurelian, I believe, were able to spot maybe danger ahead of the caravan itself. So they began to ride quickly towards it. The caravan was indeed attacked and ambushed by raiders of evil men. Men that Damrod was able to identify as the hillmen of Rudar, far to the north. What they were doing this far south, who knows? But they were attacked, ambushed. The caravan guards, along with Damrod and Marakar, did their best to fight them off. They had some sort of wicked, evil spellcaster, it seemed, chanting evil words, trying to demoralize the group and certain individuals. However, with the aid of Aurelian and Mablong, who rode up to potentially aid, although not being so forthcoming with their aid as such, hanging back slightly, they still aided the group. Damrod and Marakar both fighting till their very last breath and managing to win the day, defeating the evil shaman and the other raiders. I believe some of them even managed to escape. However, there were some that did not escape. One in particular was knocked unconscious by Marakar and the haft of his axe. There was also one that got split in half by Marakar's axe, making a bloody mess and ruin of them. But we pick up with the group all together, some of the caravan guards lying dead, some saved actually by Aurelian. Marakar maybe a little bit on edge. Damrod feeling the effects of the brutal fight. But we pick up with everyone together on the road after the battle. I can't remember what map we were on. I think it was this one. We'll just return to our map. We can zoom in somewhat. And we pick up straight after the battle itself, and we'll hand over to let's see, Damrod. Damrod, you are approaching Aurelian, well, an elf. I believe you have pulled your kells back, both Rook and Aurelian. So it may be quite clear for everyone to see that you are elven. But I'll leave that down to you, Ray and Charlie, to see if you've pulled your hoods and your kells back up at this point.
Mine was definitely down during the fight just because I was trying to catch the attention of the people who were beating on Nathan over here. But now that it's kind of subsided, he's kind of pulled it up over himself and is trying not to seem too important.
I think whenever Rook decided, this is kind of serious, I put my hood down so I could see everything around me. So my hood is down.
This is directly after the battle. I don't know if Damrod is even really has the ability to get up and walk to these two. Like, he might be kind of like maybe shuffling towards the two newcomers, kind of like hand and knee, 1 foot like up. He's like doing his best, sword in the ground, trying to move that direction, whatever he can to move towards them. But he took a heck of a beating that last session. So
I don't know if you guys remember, but the very last thing that we did before we cut to black is Aurelian went to Damrod, and seeing his face, he immediately said, Halbarad, like just confused upon seeing him. So he is now standing above you, kind of looking in awe at you.
and Damrod is just bleeding like profusely. He's bad. And he just looks up and like into your face, and you it's my father's name.
Kevin, why is it on my character sheet that I've got my healing? I can't find it. Oh, Hands of the Healer, of course. Well, it doesn't say what it does. Hold on.
Have you got it?
I gotta go on to my other character sheet to find it because it doesn't have a description of what it does.
Yeah. Okay.
But seeing him like really staggering, I'm going to like, if he falls, I'm gonna reach out to catch him, and I will use my Hands of the Healer. So
I think it's maybe 2d8. Is it?
D8 plus your Wisdom modifier.
Yeah. There is some other benefits to it in regard to if you spend a certain amount of time healing it, then that increases. I think it doubles it or something like that as well.
Yeah,
But I'll leave that down to you.
Yeah, I will spend about 10 minutes with this man, and goodness, it's been so long. I gotta figure out where all my stuff is. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Wisdom modifier, cool, +0. So, Nate, you get 8 points of HP back.
Eight. Okay. He looks a little better, but he's still, he might be able to stand up now. He might be able to stand up and actually fully face you at this point.
Seeing that he's up, I will turn to Rook. We got a live one over here, and he turns back to Halbarad and says, "We'll discuss more later." And he's gonna take a look at some of these men to see if he can do any healing on them.
Can I give a medicine check on my Damarod?
On Damrod?
Yes.
A medicine check. Yeah.
Yeah. 20.
20. He, like, Aurelian has pulled out, I imagine, some a poultice of some sort, which is in a bandage. It has, some fancy healing herbs all crushed into it in a paste on the one side, and something thick and leathery, maybe certain leaves that you might find around Rivendell, crisscrossed over on the other side, and it's stopping the bleeding, certainly, and maybe a bit of a antiseptic, as well as, you know, like how menthol clears up your nose.
Yeah.
Maybe it's having that sort of effect on him as well. So it's just making his head a little bit clearer, potentially like giving him almost a shot of adrenaline potentially at the same time. Yeah, it has this sort of invigorating effect as much as anything else, as well as helping the wounds heal. So you see that whatever Aurelian has put on, you probably know how it works, but Damrod is certainly looking much fresher, perkier, invigorated.
I tell him gently, you should feel better in a few seconds. Just let it work.
Yeah, he sits, kind of stands there as Aurelian moves off and just kind of stays in place. Maybe sway in a little bit, but he's not. Like it's barely moving. But at some point, a couple minutes pass, and he starts to shuffle forward, and he'll kind of go behind Aurelion and start um, checking the people, both checking the enemies that they fought, just making sure that there's no life in them, but also checking and trying to help all the people they were traveling with as well.
Yeah, this is an enemy. This is an enemy. This is an enemy. Yeah, you see one of the caravan guards here that has been slain. This one here is unconscious and is being tended to, probably by these two caravaneers. They're sort of trying to get their horse back. Although I can't remember where I've actually put the horse on the map. But
Oh yeah, we were moving them.
yes.
Oh yeah, they're here.
We were playing with the horses.
Riding my wild horses. Yeah.
I would be giving Aurelion some really side-eyed looks because I've never seen somebody explode somebody else's head from a distance. So I'm just like, you good, Aurelion? Hey, you okay?
Does he actually hit him?
No, he just kind of like, hey, you all right? Hey. He's kind of like taps him.
So he has his head down and he is just very solemnly doing everything he can to patch up these people that are hurt, trying to see if he can do anything to them once they're down, whether they're dead. And he's not paying any attention to what's happening around him. So he doesn't even hear Rook come up to him. And when he starts like tapping him on the shoulder, Aurelian just jumps and he's like, "What do you want?" Like just very not in a good mood right now.
It's like, whoa, calm down. I'm not trying to bother you. I didn't know you could do that.
Well, some elves are known for sorcery, yes. Never seen any other elves where you come from in Mirkwood that could do that?
I've never, I've not been outside this general area from where I grew up very often, as you know, but that was something else, Aurelion.
Well, it was necessary, and he
I need
gets
to
back.
be more careful with my mouth around you now.
Give me one sec. He does like just barely crack a smile at that as he goes back to like cleaning up these wounds.
Satisfied with myself, I move on to the next person.
And tell them a joke.
I got Aurelion smile, so I'm okay right now. Let's just move on to somebody else and see if they need help.
So
the
Marikar.
hunter up here.
So Marikar.
Yes, I am Marikar.
Yeah. You moved off, and I believe you slumped against the sort of rock face, the sort of ledge. Because I believe you've said that you've not killed a person before.
No, not until this battle.
And you was doing your best not to.
Tried my damnedest.
Wait,
So what's going on through?
You
what
have-
what is Marikar doing?
you haven't killed before this battle?
No.
Didn't you like wreck shop on a couple of these guys?
I've killed one. Yeah, I killed one this battle.
You knocked one unconscious, and then I
Yeah.
think you did kill two more.
Oh,
Did
did I?
Did
Yeah.
you cut one of them in half?
Yes.
Or am I okay? I'm just I
Yes.
want to make sure we've got context here for what's about to happen.
Yeah. So this battle here was the first time Marikar had actually killed. He hasn't really been traveling long, but he's just kind of sitting there, slumped down, and he just, if you're looking at him, he just like his axe is kind of in his lap, and he just staring off into space, mouth open, eyes just blank. And what is going on in his head is he's just like quick flashes of the battle, how it just went so wrong so quickly. And like there's a ringing in his ears, and he's like contemplating like, what does this mean for him as a person now that he's killed someone? He's having a lot of issues with this. You know, he's gone hunting before, but this isn't the same thing. So he just like trembling in his hands, just like 1,000-yard stare out into he was probably looking at just like the dead bodies, but not even noticing that he's looking at the bodies. You know, he's just replaying everything.
Maybe even one of them is on its back and has its head sort of turned, eyes wide.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Locked with yours almost.
Yeah, he's staring into
lifeless.
just staring into the cold death.
If no one else is doing anything, as I'm making my rounds, I will go over to him and just like bandage him up a little bit.
When you touch him, it's like he doesn't even notice you're there. Like nothing. He's basically just he is as if he is dead, but he's obviously not. You know.
Yeah. Without really waiting for his input, I will take his arms and like put some poultice over it, wrap it up a little bit, make sure none of his wounds are currently bleeding, and then move on to the next person.
I'm gonna find somewhere where the supplies are, and maybe find some water skins or something. And like as Aurelion's kind of going around bandaging people and or healing people, Damrod's gonna go through and offer, especially the injured ones, maybe a bit of water. Maybe rationing it a bit depending on like what we actually have and how far we have to travel, but it's just trying to, like, as Aurelion's healing and helping, Damrod's trying to like raise the spirits of the people here.
Back in sort of professional, we've got a job to do, get people focused sort of thing mode.
Can I give you a heal check on this guard right next to me?
This
A
one.
medicine check, rather. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Again, like you can see that he's standing. He's probably leaning on his sword, and he's got a few cuts. But yeah, give me a roll. Yeah, like I said, you can see that he's got a few cuts, and he's got some wounds. Nothing too major. Like he's still standing.
I kind of help him to his feet, see if he can, get his balance.
Again, sort of using his weapon as sort of something to hold him up with. But his friend,
sit down.
Yeah, his companion here, he is he's stable, but he's sort of passed out. You know,
Okay.
he basically passed his death saves and he's unconscious at this moment in time.
Okay. That's
Are
all I
these
got.
ones over here dead?
This caravaneer is dead. Yes. This is one of the raiders. This is also one of the raiders.
This one here too?
This is one of the caravan guards. Um, you know, certainly isn't one of the raiders.
Yeah, but is he dead?
Yes.
Then I'll focus on these two that are alive.
Hey Ray,
Could
I think the red X's probably mean they're dead.
Well, yeah, but it's always better. It's Nathan. You should never assume.
Can I also look around on these raiders that are dead and see if there's anything of use?
Yeah. Just give me an investigation check. As you look over their corpses, they're
20.
still warm. You see that they all carry these curved knives, daggers that are quite long and sort of vicious looking. Um, some of them have some spears. Um, they have a lot of animal teeth necklaces, but you also see a lot of raven. Well, not raven. Maybe crow or rooks or jackdaw feathers, talismans like feet, maybe even the head of one of them. Um, you know, they'll all carry something that is representative of a crow, one of the crow family.
I would pick up 2 of the curved knives for now. Kind of look over them.
Yeah.
Come back to those later.
You can see that they are they're forged, but not expertly forged. So they are sort of tools of use and war and used for war and combat as such.
So nothing
Um,
special.
they're nothing special, but they're more than just a piece of metal with some leather wrapped around, sort of thing.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll just take 2 of them, kind of slip them in my cloak, and carry on. Go find Aurelion, see if he needs help.
Are these are human, correct?
The raiders.
Yes.
Yes, they was.
After Damrod has administered water to anyone that needs it, he's gonna start kind of separating the raider corpses and the caravaneers corpses. I don't know if we have any like utensils or anything to like maybe build a pyre.
Are you hungry?
Yeah, I'm starving, famished. To build a pyre or potentially dig a pit or anything like that. But he's trying to ascertain a way to dispose of the bodies. You know, give them a burial or whatever.
Um, yeah, I mean you can build a cairn. Again, you're traveling in a caravan, 2 horses. Um, so there are certain things in there. There's probably some oil um, for you to maybe use if you wish to. So you can certainly try and build a pyre. Or you can. There's plenty of stones and rocks. You can try and build a cairn of some sort if you wish. There's probably a shovel and a pickaxe as well, maybe, where you can bury them as such if you need to.
Would I have any idea, like, what the sort of custom is for the raider, this raider group? Like, do they observe the same type of burial that we
Give
would,
me
or
give me a traditions.
12.
And give me a history.
Also 12.
Also 12. You don't know about their burial traditions at all. Um, the you know that the hillmen of Rudau were the original inhabitants of this land before the Dunedain came, and sort of pushed them further north. Um, yeah, that's where the resentment of them comes from. Of the Dunedain comes from. So yeah, you're not 100% certain on their sort of funeral rites and customs that they have.
I think that I think Damrod then would kind of just default try to build some type of like makeshift thrown together pyre. He's not going to spend forever on it, especially since he's injured pretty bad, but he is going to try to give them some sort of respect, even though they were combatants.
Yeah.
Um, he would help with, if given the time, he would help with the people of the caravan too, but he's not going to mess with their dead until he knows their traditions for sure.
Um, Rook, Mablung. Um, you find again. It might be you might have just helped Damrod move some of these potentially, and
Yeah.
that's when you was searching some of the bodies. Um, you find um, a, a small gemstone, maybe of moonstone. Um, yeah, um, it looks, shaped enough, and polished a little bit, but it's not finely worked. But it's certainly a pretty nice jewel or gem, potentially about the same size of um, a duck egg, potentially.
Wow.
A what?
A duck egg.
Missed opportunity for it to be a goose egg.
No, goose eggs are too big.
All right.
Do we see what um, Damrod is over here doing?
I don't think he's hiding it, so yeah, that's
I
it's
mean,
entirely down to you.
you'd at least see the fire at some point.
After I patched up as many people as I can, Aurelian is going to just look over to this, and he will come over here, standing a good distance away from the smoke, and he will pull out his dulcimer and start playing a song of grieving.
Damrod has flashbacks to memories that aren't his own of some dwarf playing a horrible bagpipes.
No, but this is actually good, so it's fine.
Those
Well-
bagpipes are beautiful.
Well, we don't actually know if it's good or not because you haven't rolled a performance yet.
Very true. Let me. Ooh, okay.
Perfect.
Remember, you have inspiration.
Can I use my inspiration or what I have to for?
Of course. you can.
God,
No,
I
you
hope
can
you roll
re-roll.
another nat
You would-
one.
You will re-roll.
13.
Yeah. Um. It's not that it's bad. It's you maybe just don't understand it, Damrod, or no one else understands it. Maybe not even Rook understands it so much. But it has the right tones to it for you to sort of get the idea and the sense of the melancholy.
I will say maybe his fingers are trembling a little bit from the battle.
Mm.
Do dulcimers or dulcimer string? I don't know.
I think it's wind.
Yeah, it's a string.
Oh, it is string.
Mhm.
Um, it's obviously taken a little bit of time for everyone to do this. Um, you would Marikar will say that you probably see the one that you hit over the head with the flat side of your axe.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, maybe even begins to start stirring. Um, again, he's what 15 feet from you, slumped somewhat awkwardly against the cliffside, the ledge side as well.
So he's like starting to come to.
But you just seeing he's just starting to stir.
Gotcha. Um,
His
Marikar,
eyes
he
aren't open, but
gotcha. So he's slowly kind of coming out of it. I think what he could hear of the music maybe reminded him that like, hey, we're still in the real world, um, and he'd kind of like look around and see that see what's going on. He'd look over and see this person starting like shuffle and move a little bit, and he'd slowly get up, um, and he would grab him by like the collar or like his shirt or something like that,
yeah.
and just kind of like prop him up and try waking him up, kind of giving him a couple slaps. Still moving like very lethargically. He probably even left his axe on the floor over where he was sitting. Um,
Have
and
you
he
restrained him in any way, or is he?
no,
Has he still got his hands and stuff free? Okay.
no, just like kind of helped lift him up onto his feet, and he's trying to wake him up, kind of squishing his face, giving him a couple smacks.
Um. Yeah. Maybe after 20, 30 seconds of you trying to do these things, he groggily begins to sort of open his eyes, but it's he's struggling to do so. This guy's probably got a concussion of some sort.
Oh yeah. The back of his head hit that wall pretty hard.
Yeah,
Um, uh, he
and
would
probably
just
a squish broken nose as well.
yeah. And he would kind of just like he'd just stare at him for a little bit, just like observing what what he caused. Um, and I'm gonna roll me a little something. Um, and he tries to figure out what's going on, kind of like mentally compartmentalize everything that happened, and he starts to get fueled again with rage. And before he acts upon his rage, he uh, he just starts dragging him over to where his friends are, the dead ones. And he'd kind of bring him over this way, and he'd get up to maybe next to Damrod with him,
Yeah.
and he'd say, "Do do we? Does he go in here?" Looking at the fire.
Is he dead?
I I don't.
His eyes are awake, and you're dragging him. He still doesn't quite know like where he is, what's going on, and then like he looks down, and he probably recognizes someone in the fire, um, and then sort of confusion looks up at Damrod. Don't die. And he goes to reach for a knife, but it's gone. And he goes to sort of lurch towards Damrod, um, to sort of grab him or something,
I
wrestle him.
I definitely stopped that.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, can I not reach up and grab him, throw his
Yeah. What Marikar does is he goes for his knife,
Yeah,
and then he goes reaches for Damrod, and he just kind of puts him in in a really tight sleeper hold until his body doesn't move anymore and he doesn't feel a pulse.
Yeah, you get him and squeeze.
Squeeze
Uh,
like it, yeah, his eyes start popping out and then he just drops the body and he looks at Damrod and you can easily see that uh one Marikar, he's just like health point wise, like healthy. He's so fucked up right now. He's never been this hurt ever in his life. But his eyes are just like bloodshot, and like you could tell he's been like crying, but he didn't know he was crying. Like he's just in such a bad way. And he drops the body and he says,
so hold on,
I think
before
he's dead.
before we go that far,
Hmm.
so you get him and you grab him, and
Sure, sure.
no roll needed. Um, and what does everybody else do when you see Marikar getting locked up and he's squeezing, and you see the tension in Marikar's hands and arms, the redness of his face and his captive's face.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, what's everybody else doing when they see this?
I would ask. I would get up really close to him and ask him, "Do you really want to kill him right now? Maybe ease up. We can tie him up and take him where we're going to take him. Don't kill him."
Yeah, Damrod is telling you not to kill him as well.
Sure, sure, yeah. Um, and he just, you see, he eases up and he just looks so confused about everything. And instead of waiting for no pulse, he'd put him back to sleep and then just like drop him and just kind of like look at his hands
Yeah, you
and
probably
look
see the
around.
life. You probably see the life, and you're probably feeling the life sort of slip from your captive. Um, and you'll see that he passes out, and you hold it just for a little bit longer
Hmm.
before you let go, relax, and the body just drops to the floor. Most likely, still alive, just
Yeah,
in time. But
probably.
yeah, he's out.
Um, but yeah, and he just like he's looking as if he needs an answer from someone.
I just say, "Hey, do you have any kind of rope?"
You're asking me.
Yes.
Um, he'd kind of like look at his pockets and he'd look back over at where we were ambushed and he'd say, I uh, I think I may have some in my bag. Let me I can go over and check. And he starts to kind of.
I will. I would say, Marikar, listen. I'll give him my rope and say, just give me yours when you find it. I'm gonna. I need you to tie him up best you can. Gag him. Do whatever you have to do to where he can't move and can't talk. And just
So
hand him
And
my rope.
I
he
think
would
I
he
think remember as well that the only people who have been introduced, I think, are I don't know if Aurelian you gave your name,
Not yet.
and I don't know if Damrod gave his name, only that he's the son of Halbarad. I'm not can't
After I
remember.
hand,
yeah.
Yeah, I
after I
don't
hand him the
think I've
rope, I
said
say,
my
"Hey,
name
look,
yet.
Go on, Charlie.
uh, nothing." I would just after I hand him the rope, I say, "Name is Rook. Nice to meet you," and just kind of walk away.
Yeah.
So
And
go over here.
he kind of he looks at the rope and he shakes his head when you give it to him and he says, Rook, Rook," and he just starts
Marakar,
tying this
give
guy up.
me Marakar, give me an investigation check.
I will. That's a hard 9.
Okay.
Very
Um.
solid 9.
Yeah.
Solid.
Very
We'll,
solid.
we'll, we're 9. Um. Yeah. You're still in much of a daze, I guess. Not really focusing on some things. So, yeah, you can tie him up, um, get him nice and bound pretty tightly.
Hmm.
You can do with him as you wish.
Yeah, I wouldn't do anything aggressive with him. I just like tie his arms together and tie his feet together, and then I just kind of maybe drag him off to the side, like right over here or something.
Mhm.
Brilliant's been
What
pretty
about?
quiet, but when this happens, he just like puts his dulcimer, crosses his arms. So he's your captive now. Now, what will you do with that?
Well, you're asking me.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. And no, he's capturing people. Good lord. He looks at you and he says, he says, I, and he would kind of stumble over words, and he just look at Damrod with just pleading eyes of like, what should I do?
We'll be taking him with us.
And he'd nod.
We need to get to shelter and safety. Better treat some of our wounds. But also need to find out why, if they had a plan, and why they were attacking this road.
I would bring up that after we complete kind of everything we're doing, we should probably find somewhere to rest safely. Probably not out in the open.
Safe is nice.
I believe it's just after midday at this point in time. Um, the mist that was clinging to the countryside beginning to burn up, or has probably finally burnt up by this point. The land around again is once again very quiet, um, empty as such. Do you Are you ready to progress along the road and move on?
I would like to talk to Damrod, I believe, a little bit, just to pick up where we left off.
Yeah, I imagine then the caravan is beginning to get everything together. They've sort of buried their dead, um, and they're ready to move on, repacking things. Rook's gone to get your two horses.
As soon as I see Rook, I'm going to motion to him that I'll just be a moment, and I will head over to Damron for a moment.
Nod in agreement.
And he'll just like come up to him. He still has his robe on, and he's kind of just like trying to like shrink into the background, so you may not even notice him come up. But when he approaches you, so I'm got quite a few questions, and I'm hoping you have some answers for me.
I will give you what I have.
You say you are the son of Halbrad?
Yes.
Well, and he just kind of looks a little like it's weird. It's a hard to put down expression. Never quite thought he would be the sort to ever have children. Very disgusting, if I can say.
I personally would prefer if you wouldn't talk about my deceased father that way.
I glare at him.
That does shock him. Deceased as and when.
Should you know, after speaking of him that way?
Look, boy, I did know your father a long time ago, and he was something of an informant for me. And he sent word to me fairly recently. So I need to know if that word came from a ghost. So yes, I would say I need to know.
Would I know Aurelion's name from like the stories I heard of my father's escapades or whatever?
Oh, certainly.
He
Well,
hasn't
yeah.
introduced yet.
Yeah, I know. Damrod, when you say informant, kind of looks at you and like quizzically and says, "I could think of a few people who you might be it if you knew my father in that manner."
Well, if you are offering a name, then perhaps I could confirm or deny.
He never spoke of me.
We didn't speak of personal matters while we knew each other. It was very businessy. We I asked him and a friend of his for help finding someone, and he obliged. There wasn't much talk in between.
Your sister, perhaps?
Perhaps you do know me. And
I know
he
of
perhaps,
you.
what's that?
I know of you.
And he does like pull back his hood a little bit to show him the ears. Now then, your father. When did he pass?
I think you see like the equivalent of Damrod like almost nerding out for a second. Like you see that flash in his eyes because he's heard this story before, and like I think he knows who you are. Not knows you, but he's heard this story and heard what his father did, and heard what like who he worked with, and all heard the whole thing. And like for a second you see that flash in his eyes, and he doesn't act on it. He pulls it back. um
He's like, this guy knows Aragon!
yeah, exactly. And he's like, he just begins to tell you the story of what he knows of his father passing.
Yeah, Halbrad is not dead, by the way. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if he was just playing a trick on Aurelian or not,
Well, he still might be.
or just trying to sort of throw Aurelian off the trail because someone's asking about him, and you want to sort of just go, "Yes, he's dead.
That's exactly what I'm
You
doing.
can't go after him now."
Can I roll to see if I could tell he's playing a joke on me?
Or trying to hide it from you. Yeah. Insight.
Insight. Cool. Pretty mean trick to play.
Damrod starts to go into this story that is like tragic and heroic at the same time. And just he's very intently watching Aurelion's reactions to what's happening and what he's in the story he's telling.
He definitely seems to believe you, and he looks bothered, but not that bothered. He looks about as bothered as he did seeing your friends, who he didn't even know the name of, die in that scuffle back there.
Well, in that case, Damrod is not going to reveal that he's making all this up, because he's starting to wonder maybe again if you're really who you say you are.
I mean,
If he saw, I was totally gonna have him just like spill the beans about it if you had shown some sadness of it, but you're just like, well, okay, whatever.
Thing is, he wasn't very close with Alvarad.
I mean, I know that, but
I like the fact that Nathan was like, yeah, he died, and Kevin's like, he was in the last book, and you're like, oh, just kidding.
I didn't read the books.
He will, once you're quiet for a moment, he just kind of nods along. Well, he said that there was a Breelander that I needed to find. Timaeus, do you know him?
should probably ask before I say yes or no to this one, so I don't mess it up.
No, give me a history roll, I guess. No, you don't know this person.
No idea.
And you can tell that he kind of like gets a little frustrated. I expected so many things coming into this conversation, and yet you've disappointed me in every regard, I suppose. Where's it you're heading?
Well, you have not changed much. At least, not from my father's stories. I am merely traveling at the moment. Not a specific destination in mind.
And this caravan here?
Happen to be traveling the same path.
Which is, as I recall, nowhere.
I don't know where they're traveling. They were traveling the same path as I.
Good to
And
know.
as you
Meeting
can
the-
see, they needed protection. So I offered what I could.
Well, in those few sentences, you've stayed about the same in every regard. Perhaps we will find safety in numbers, though. And he turns to head back into Rook, but before he does, he just turns back to you. I suppose you already know my name, and you are?
Damrod.
Damrod. Well, I hope our conversations in the future will be of more importance than this one, son of Halbrod. And he's going to turn and head back to Rook.
As you're turning and heading back, he mumbles to himself. If his death wasn't important, I'd hate to find out how he felt if he was still alive.
When I get back to Rook, what are you thinking? You think perhaps it might be safe to go along with them?
I mean, I would think that if they were going to attack us, they probably would have. They probably wouldn't be so hospitable. I think we should be okay. Let's just tread lightly and just be really aware of what's around us.
That's probably wise. And I will go to my horse.
GG. The caravan then, already, was just waiting for effectively the Dunedain Ranger to lead the group this time, as you've certainly showed more than enough capability in helping them and in protecting them. One of them would say, "So, where to, Ranger? What is the plan now, especially with that one?" So obviously looking at the captive.
I don't think I ever found out where these guys were actually heading, like their actual destination. I just kind of jumped in with them because they were traveling the same road as I was.
No, I think they would have probably said that they were heading to Bree. I mean, to be honest, there's nowhere else.
Yes, we did talk about that because
there's nowhere else to head to, really.
Yeah, and think we talked about heading towards Weathertop as well on the way there.
I mean, you know, if you travel this road, you're going to go past Weathertop. Anyway,
Yeah, because he went into a big soliloquy about Weathertop.
Yeah.
To Marakar. Damrod just looks at him and says, "We're traveling to Bree. I believe that was the plan from the beginning and still remains the plan now. As for this one," and he kind of nods towards the prisoner, "I just want to have a talk with him. Could be that they were just a small band that saw travelers on the road and attacked. Could be much worse. I will try to find out."
You definitely know that there are fellow Dunedain rangers situated in like hidden holdfasts within the not at Weathertop itself, but within the hills that you can see marching off towards the north from the Weathertop, which is the very end hill. That there are like secret hiding places that the rangers use within the hills to sort of keep an eye on the land, and there's always someone stationed there.
I think that's where Damrod's going to kind of start directing us, like trying to go towards the closest area of safety and protection that he knows. Because I don't know. I don't remember exactly how banged up most of the travelers were. I know, at least one of them was knocked unconscious and nearly died. I know one of the guards was hurt pretty bad. I know I'm hurt very bad. So that's his main priority at the moment, is to find some shelter where we can do some healing and kind of tend to our wounds.
You probably think that if you push on, maybe not through the night, but into using some of the darkness than where the light fades, rather than resting. If you stay on the road and push on, then there's probably a good chance you could make it to Weathertop in this sort of journey phase of the day.
Yeah, if that's the case and everyone else is up for it, then I'm totally okay with pushing forward to that.
Sounds good.
I'm good.
Yeah, I haven't put any features in.
I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
Oh, you wasted your 120.
I
Oh,
did
no.
not. That was a complete
Ooh.
accident. I want to hear.
Waste. Soiled it.
So, before we move on, I would like Marakar to give me I would like everyone to give me a corruption save.
All right, give me a second.
Where is that on here?
It's in your saves.
It's the bottom of the saving throws. Have I said lately how much I love Roll20?
Yeah, I just had to wrestle with it, close it back out, and redo it. Corruption. Oh.
Oof.
Hold on, why is it? Ah! I can't see what I rolled.
Oh, you rolled a 9.
Oh, great, grand. Can I inspiration that?
Yeah, of course you can. Of course.
Oh, great.
You don't want corruption?
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
Should
so you get a
have
9.
left it alone.
I should have. I have another inspiration, but I don't think it's worth it at this point.
No,
No,
it's better
no. Quit while you're ahead.
I'm a save it for when I get hurt real bad and I need to check a bad save.
Nathan, can you remember what you chose for Damrod for your
That's
um for your virtue, your cultural virtue? Can you remember what we chose? It wasn't the same one, was it? It was.
Trying to remember.
Are
It's
we
been a
supposed
minute.
to pick a virtue?
I think that was
Yeah,
the
you
same.
got you had the strength virtue for your.
Oh,
for
yeah,
the
yeah. Okay,
Pyrenees.
yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sure I filled it all in for you, but I don't know why it's not saved on your sheet. But okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look at these rolls. So Aurelian, just give me a D4.
Okay.
Marikar, give me 2d4.
Oh god.
Barin, give me a D4. Not Barin. um, Rook, give me a D4.
I'm
And
trying
then
to change it.
and Damrod, give me a D4 as well. Okay, so Aurelian, you're going to take 1 point of temporary shadow. And I'll let you describe in a second what that was from, what it was that you felt this shadow uh, creeping on you again. You know, maybe it was the words of power that the shaman was like using against you. Maybe it was seeing these hillmen sort of recklessly throw their lives away. Uh, I'll let you describe it in a sec. Marikar, you're going to take 2 points of uh, temporary shadow. Again, I'll let you describe in a second where this is from. Rook, you will take the 1 point of temporary shadow. Damrod, you're going to be taking the 2 points of temporary shadow.
Got it.
Got it.
Okay. So you are traveling, trying to push on. Damrod is trying to get you to Weathertop, like before it gets too late. He's probably setting a decent pace, which is okay with the elves because they're on horseback. But the Caravanseers are obviously maybe grumbling, but they feel the urgency and the need of their guide now, and are trying to keep up with the long strides of the Dunedain. Um, Marikar, um,
Yes.
what was it that? I mean, we've already played it out, I guess, but what was it that has set this sort of shadow upon your heart, upon your soul?
I think the biggest thing that kind of set all of this off is that Marikar, his idea of what the world was completely dismantled. He's never been in an attack like that. He's never taken the life of like a humanoid of any type. You know, like I said, he's gone hunting, but this is different. He doesn't see it as it was out of self-defense, and he blames himself for not he blames himself really for the Caravanseers that have died. He feels that, like, on one hand it's wrong to kill, but on the other hand, if he would have gone on the offensive a little harder sooner, uh, some of these people's friends, family, whoever died from the caravan side, might have still been here. And he's kind of battling with that dichotomy of you shouldn't take someone's life, but when exactly should you do it? So he's trying to reorganize his whole worldview. So that's really broken him up.
Yeah. Aurelian, how about yourself?
So Aurelian was doing decently okay. It was mostly the adrenaline that was keeping him going through this. Like he was able to see these people falling and dying, and it didn't get him that much. But when the adrenaline started to wear down, and he was by Damrod at the funeral pyre playing his dulcimer, he just saw flashes of Aregian burning again, and that's what caused his finger to start trembling and for his dulcimer playing to not be the best it could be.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Rook, yourself.
Um,
You've maybe not had much interaction with humans, um, and you thought maybe that they all look the same to you, but these didn't look the same. They definitely felt differently. They sounded differently. They smelt differently. Just there was something about them that was just different, and you know, you 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 helped murder them or kill them. Something about them was off. So what was it?
uh, Probably the fact that he'd heard about battle and he'd heard about fights and this and everything before, but he's never really been in a full scale type thing. And then he just saw his cousin melt this guy's brain. And so he's like, is this what battle is really supposed to be like? So he's in shock of what battle is actually going to feel like in a real world situation versus stories or training or scenarios. This is actual real world stuff, and that just shocks him.
Hmm. Yeah. And Damrod, Nathan.
So I did find the screenshot you sent me, and I took sterner than still for my virtue. So
Yeah.
I believe I should have advantage on that if I read it
Okay.
right. Where's
On
it at?
corruption saves.
Yes. Sterner than steel, you resist shadow corruption better than most. For your spirit is resolute, and your mind is not easily overthrown. Raise your wisdom score by 1 point. You have advantage on wisdom saving throws against corruptions. So
Okay.
is that considered that or
A 14. Okay, you would only take the 1 point of shadow then from
okay?
this. Yeah. But what was it that that sort of weighed on your soul, weighed on you,
I th-
in regards to
I think
these
it's
people?
a mixture kind of everything like coming like I don't think the shadow that he gets sets in until like later in the journey. And I think it's part of the reason why he's pushing so hard to get to Weathertop instead of just stopping somewhere else. Um, it's kind of setting in as like the conversation starts to die down, and he's kind of replaying what happened over in his head, and he's seeing Marakar like go ham and like go from just knocking people out with the blunt of his axe and with the leather casing on his axe to like ripping it open and just cutting someone in half and then seeing the people of the caravan fall and seeing someone's head literally explode and then again watching Marakar like begin to choke the life out of someone in front of him and asking if he should even before that asking if he should throw this person who's alive onto the funeral pyre that was burning in front of him. And it's not that he's like singling out Marikar's actions or anything, but he's just playing through all of this in his head over and over and over as they're wandering closer to Weathertop. That's what's
Yeah, like
pushing him forward, but just that like those images just constantly in a loop flashing is what's adding that shadow.
yeah. I mean, the fact that these evil men are so close to Weathertop, as well, maybe weighing on your thoughts as well. Um, Anyway, it gets dark. The sun is set completely. Um, you get the Caravaneers to light their torches as they continue on the road, and the road um, is pretty well maintained. Not maintained, but there is clearly a road and a path. Stone blocks, well, stone has been laid upon it, which still linger. Um, and you make it to the base of Weathertop. Um, a solitary hill that sticks out from the rest of the hills that march off towards the north. Damrod, you know these as the North Downs, the Weathered Hills, and Marikar. You maybe can't see from where you are. You can see that there is a standalone hill at the end of this range of hills, and you remember Damrod speaking to you about what this hill was, that this was Amansul, and that a great watchtower once stood here, and that it was an important place in history long ago, but now is a just a ruin. But you, from where you are, and because it's so dark, you cannot see this ruin. You can't see what it could be. The image that he tried to draw for you with his words and as he was describing it, you've got no way of telling um, what it is. Um, Aurelian, you know Weathertop. You saw it. You've probably seen it when it was built. You saw it when probably when Elendil stood here waiting for the High King Gil-galad to march his host from the west. You may have even been a part of that host that stayed at Rivendell rather than march to war to Mordor. But yeah, it's too dark for you to see at this moment in time. The caravan stops. Damrod, you are able to lead the caravan to a place you know where it's pretty sheltered, pretty safe as such, where people usually would stop and rest for the night. And the caravan stops there, and you guide them there as you begin to set up a sort of camp, getting a fire burning. What is it that you guys would like to do?
Uh, I'm Dameron's gonna do his best to help, like set up a camp, start talking about watches and trying to make sure that we're at a vantage point where we can be protected, um, but also helping the like anyone else that's wounded, helping them get settled in and get where they can, start to recover.
Yeah. I imagine the
Um,
two elves are maybe still keeping themselves mostly away, just off to the side a little bit, rather than being integrated. But I don't know. Maybe that's
Kevin, is it apparent what Markar is,
in regards to,
human wise?
as in what culture.
Yeah.
Um, it would be more apparent maybe to Rook that he's from the other side of the Misty Mountains rather than this side of the Misty Mountains. I'm not sure if Aurelian maybe has ever crossed the mountains. It's not
Probably
an
not.
easy thing to do.
Could I make an assumption based off the fact that he's with all these Breelanders that he is probably Bree? Or does he look too different?
He looks very different to the Breelanders. Breelanders are like
Fuck, where am I from?
compared. You've probably only ever met Dunedain. Um, you've seen some people of Bree because you passed through Bree originally, and you've seen some people of Tharbad. they are a lot shorter than the Dunedain. The Dunedain are tall, taller than elves, lean. Marikar is tall, maybe equal to that of Damrod, but he's stocky. He's like pretty hench sort of thing. He's got that farm strength in him. I think Nathan described him as.
Yeah, he's a good old farm boy.
Corn fed.
Yeah, yeah,
Corn-fed,
corn fed. Yeah,
on the good stuff as well.
Mhm. Did Brooke speak Sindarin? I forget.
Cinderin, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
You do?
I do.
Okay. In Sindarin, I will whisper to him that quiet one over there. Any idea what he could be? He's not Dunanine and he's not of the Bree.
He's probably from the other side of the Misty Mountains, I would assume. He's not from this area. He's not from this side. We've not really seen anybody of that shade over in this area. So he's probably not, I guess you could say, from around here.
What do you think brings him around here?
It's hard to say. I mean, that's a question for him.
The milkshakes.
And I will point to Damrod. Over there. He's the son of the man who helped me find Iwheel.
Does he know who you are specifically?
Seems to. He knows the stories his father told him.
And are you on good terms with him?
Mm,
I don't like that.
good terms with anyone?
I mean, it didn't look like you guys were having a great conversation.
Yeah. His father may have died recently. You know,
Did-
these things happen when you're human.
Aurelion, did you do it?
Did I do it? No, I did not.
Wow.
Okay. I had to ask because this was going anyway. That's a question for him, honestly. I mean, let's see what happens. I'm so at this point, Rook is so lost because he's trying to take everything in, and it's just everything's going the opposite directions. He's trying to figure things out.
You know, had it not been for our blood, I probably would have left you behind. So you get with it, Rook. Respectfully,
Don't
get
leave me behind. I love this.
The camp is established. Again, Damrod, you know that there is a hidden Dunedain hidey hole, shall we say, on the north side of the hill that is Weathertop. It's not attached to Weathertop, but it's one of the other hills next to it. A place where the rangers of the north, your fellow Dunedain, can keep an eye on the road, as well as the lands to the east, as well as the lands to the west. It is a sanctuary for yourself, and you know that there are pretty much always rangers stationed there.
How far would that be from where we're at now?
Probably an hour, I guess, maybe 2.
And it's night. It's going on night now.
It is nighttime. It's probably like 9-10 o'clock. Sun probably set at 8, 7, 8.
I think Damrod is going to procure a torch and approach Marakar and just tell him I'm gonna scout around a bit, make sure that we're actually gonna be safe here.
You would see Marakar. He's like we're setting up camp and stuff. He would be kind of setting up the captive kind of neatly and politely, kind of along like a tree or a rock or something like that. Maybe giving him some water and checking on some people. And he'd look up to you, and you'd see his kind of like quote unquote innocence in his eyes are kind of back to a certain extent, but it's just a little different. And he'd say, yes, for sure. I'll keep an eye on everyone here. Is how you doing? You know the elf? That's an elf, right?
Uh, I don't know him. I know stories of him. He knew my father, or knows rather. As
Hmm.
far as he knows, he knew my father.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we're in a safe enough spot. If anything happens, I'll give you a holler. Uh, I'm gonna make sure everyone is as comfortable as they can be.
Please, if the other two, and he looks towards the two elves, they should be able to help to protect if something happens, as long as they have a reason to.
Well, I hope we have enough reasons here. And he looks over at the injured caravan, um, and he says, I can take first watch uh, for the night, if that would be helpful.
I leave that to you. I will be gone a couple of hours, at
Will do.
least.
Well, if I don't see you by sunset, I'll come looking for you.
He looks up at the black sky,
Sunset,
stars in
sunrise.
the sky. They hit you harder than I thought.
Yeah, got hit pretty hard.
And Damrod kind of like stands up really slowly. Like I imagine he's was kind of leaned over while you were tending to this guy, and
Hmm.
like stands up like really slowly. As someone who's bones are creaking or whatever stands up, but you can tell it's because he's injured.
Yeah,
Um, but he kind of pats you on the back and takes torch in hand and starts to wander off in the direction of this quote unquote hidey hole.
yeah, and,
Uh,
and Marikar, he would just go around and check on the carabineers and just try to be as helpful as humanly possible.
um, so, Damrod, are you trying to do so in a certain way, or are you just sort of disappearing out of the sort of camp area, just walking out? Aurelian, Rook, what are your ideas on this?
This is a supposed to be kind of a hidden thing, right?
This isn't hidden in regards to this isn't where the rangers would come and hide and have their little sanctuary. This is just a campsite that's protected from the wind of the hills enough.
Yeah, no, I
That's
mean the what I'm looking for is hidden in secret, right?
yeah.
Okay.
The rangers know where it is, um, but they wouldn't necessarily be showing other people where it is and stuff like that. Um, the way there is sheltered in a way that you could walk there and not be seen from certain places. Um, some stealth is sort of needed, but for the most part, this is a hidden sanctuary of your people.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of wander off, kind of like in the opposite direction of where I need to go to get there. I did say that I was gonna be scouting around, um,
Mm.
and I won't kind of like double back towards where I need to go until I know, or until I'm relatively sure that I'm outside of earshot and sight, line of sight. Then I'll kind of turn or double back or whatever I need to do to get that direction and move there, stealthily as possible.
Okay. Aurelian Rook.
I would whisper to Aurelion, maybe we should go and make an official introduction and maybe see what we can do to help as a whole.
That sounds like it might bear fruits, yes.
And then I would start walking towards, well, Damrell's gone. I start walking, Marikar slowly so he can see me coming. And I say, I'm Rook. I'm from Mirkwood, and I'd motion over to Aurelion. And this is, well, you can do it.
So kind. Aurelian of Abregion originally, Rivendell. Posthumously, I suppose.
So yeah, Marikar, you live sort of on the edge. The Bjornings live on the edge of Mirkwood.
Mhm.
Mirkwood is a very deadly and dangerous place, apart from the woodland realm of the elves in the north, and the woodmen who live in the eaves to the south of where your people live.
Gotcha. And he would kind of like get up similarly to Damrod, just like sore. And he'd like wipe off his hands and go to shake your hands. And he would say, "It is it's a pleasure to meet you both. Um, I am from Bjorning. Is that where does my place have a name?
You can say I am from the lands of Bjorn, or I am
Okay, gotcha.
I am one of the Bjornings.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that would make sense. Gotcha. He would say, "I am from the lands of the Bjorning. I've just recently traveled here." And he'd kind of maybe hold the handshake a little too long, and then realize it and kind of let go. And he would say, I appreciate you all for what you did earlier, helping us out. Um, and it's a pleasure to meet you both."
Is there any particular reason for traveling with the Bree?
And he'd look over to the caravan, and he'd remember Bree, and he was like, "Oh, I'm on a bit of a personal uh, personal travels. I know someone who went this way, and I'm essentially in search for them. Uh, we were all just traveling kind of the same way, and generally a rather large man with an axe is enough to scare off uh, miscreants and rogues. Usually,
I'd make a snide comment about how glorious it was when he cut somebody in half.
And I'll just like kind of slap him.
ooh,
Like I'll just stop that.
yeah.
You don't think that was awesome? I mean, really? Yeah.
It's in another person's death, and usually no.
Yeah, Marikar would look like just physically uncomfortable at the comment, and he would say, "Yeah, it's that is the first time I've killed anyone. Um,
Oh,
cool. I guess I'm still trying to wrap my head around the whole thing." And you see, he'd start like fidgeting with like a little piece of wood that he has in his hands.
Um, I will just put my hand on his shoulder. And what is surprising to Rook, a very tender moment for Aurelian. Back there, that was the first time I'd ever killed a human, any sort of man, really.
And Rook is shocked by
Yeah.
that.
I can't say it'll get easier from here, but it is a burden to bear.
And Marikar would be like really fighting back tears at the conversation so far, and he'd say, "You seem like you taking it well. Have you had training, or I mean, how do you deal with it?"
My experiences aren't something that will ever be universal to men like you, but I have seen quite gruesome details in my travels.
Oh, I don't mean to pry. Just trying to figure it out, I guess.
Out of curiosity, while you've been looking for this person, have you come across anyone known as Timaeus, a Breelander?
Um, not. I don't believe so. I can ask the lore master.
No, no.
Yeah, I don't think so. So yeah, he'd say, no, I have not. I'm sorry. Are you two looking for someone? Well, obviously, if you're asking.
Sort of a family journey, yes.
Honestly, this is my first time out. So I have yet to kill him. Or did I last when my thing messed up? Did I take it then or no?
I don't think you did.
Remember.
I don't think you managed to get the killing blow on anyone.
We'll just go with no. So no, Rook would just be kind of be like the third wheel, like, well, I haven't killed anybody yet, and this is my first journey, and shaping up to be quite interesting.
And Marikar would kind of look at you and he'd say, "Well, I hope we don't have to do that anymore." And he'd kind of look over at Aurelian and say, "Are these lands usually this hostile?"
This is a recent development. My sister and I used to travel these lands quite often, or at least the lands to Eregion, and it was never quite as bad as we've seen. Certainly never men that were coming after us. The occasional ward, maybe an orc.
Sure. I don't believe I've ever even seen an orc, but I think this is good though. I think maybe I needed this adventure. We'll see the bright side of things, I guess. But I'll be here. I plan on taking the first watch, so if you need any rest,
We elves don't sleep.
We zone off.
you don't sleep.
Never have.
Not really.
He's baffled by this. He's just like, wow, what a life.
Wow, you don't know what you're missing out on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, that's exactly. He's just blown away. He's like, what? Please, I mean, we have. I'm sure we have tons of time. Are you traveling with us going forward?
For the time being.
Great. I'm sure we will have. I am sure I will have many interesting things to learn about elves. Very interesting. You have good bone structure.
Charlie just blipped out, I think.
Oh.
Past his bedtime, is it?
I guess so. But yes, Aurelian would bid Marikar a good day. And I'll explain this to Charlie later. I'll just grab Rook by the ear and just drag him off. Like, don't you ever talk to someone about how killing someone. Oh, Charlie, you're here. You're here.
Sorry.
Aurelian just kind of grabs you by the ear when we're out of reach of Marikar and be like, don't you ever be talking to someone about how killing someone is cool. You've got a lot to learn about things out here. And he absolutely calls
I would
you
just
that
like
one.
grab her hand, or his hand, like, go, please, thank you. And I would like rub where he was grabbing, like, that was rude. Second of all, you know what?
And just using that voice that I used to use whenever you got in trouble.
I've not been out before. I thought I was complimenting him.
These humans, they love killing things, surely.
Like if Marikar was like an actual soldier or like a real fighter, yeah, no, he'd be all about that conversation.
That would be my defense.
Yeah.
Don't you ever grab my ears again. That was rude.
Don't you ever do something rude, and I'll think about it.
It was meant as a compliment.
All about phrasing.
Fine. I won't do it anymore. I just kind of glare at him like, sorry. I was disrespectful and rude.
And he'll just like ease off that look.
So, Damrod, give me a stealth check.
$17.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay.
You are able to make your way out of the camp to scout, and you're able to easily slip around. You've probably been here before, so you know your way around this camp well enough. The view lines and the sight lines and stuff. And you're able to slip around easily, not making any noise. And you begin to make your way in the direction away from the camp, then towards where the hidden path is to get to the sanctuary. Did you say you was going to light a torch, or are you going to try and do this in the dark?
I can see in the dark.
You can.
I mean, I took a torch with me, kind of in the beginning, scouting, so I'm not just wandering around scouting in the dark. If this is something that if this is an area I know decently well, then I would probably either plant the torch at some point or snuff the torch out.
Yeah. And then make your way out into the darkness.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Give me
What
then.
could go wrong?
Give me then a survival check now, because you know these lands, and that is one of your features. Then I believe you add double your proficiency to it, so you effectively get expertise. But because it's done in the dark, then it's going to be at disadvantage.
If I had double my proficiency, that makes it an 8 then.
8. Okay, so unfortunately, in the dark, trying to find this hidden path isn't easy to do, and you sort of are in the right area and the right region that you know, but you just can't find the exact place where you need to get to do it. Give me a perception check. Again, this will be at disadvantage, but you do. I don't think you get your double proficiency this time. So 13. You're trying to find the beginning of this hidden path. And you think that you probably just about can't find it, and it's like maybe you get a bit frustrated, and you're about to potentially head back, or would you want to continue to persist on?
I'm not sure.
It's getting later than you'd probably hope.
About how long have I been looking?
Instead of it taking like maybe 2 hours to get, an hour and a half to get to the sanctuary, it's well past that. It's probably now 2.5 hours.
Oh, if I would probably be at the point right there at the point where I'm like, if I don't find it in the next like few minutes, I'm heading back because I've got to make my way back. You know, if I'm gone too long, they're gonna start to get worried and come looking. So,
No, it's fine. You got until tomorrow's sunrise or sunset.
oh yeah, I forgot. I have an entire day to find this. So,
Um, do this. Okay. You begin to give up, and you turn to head back towards your um towards your camp when you hear right behind you, maybe not the drawing of a sword from a scabbard, there is no like sound effectively, but you hear maybe the sound of movement right behind you, and you hear just off to your right maybe a drawing of a bow, as you feel a blade tap you on your shoulder near your neck, and a voice say to you, "You are far off the trail." It is a male voice. "What makes you think that you can leave the path and not get hurt?" And then a female voice from the direction where you heard the other sound. "Yes. What makes you think that it is safe to leave the path, traveler?"
it's never safe to leave the path unless you're one of these lands.
The sword, which is on your shoulder, obviously the person is behind you. The person begins moving to their left and to your left, and so the point is beginning to angle towards your neck this way. There's no movement as such to stab you with it or thrust with it, but it gets to the point where the blade then comes off your shoulder and is across your neck. Did you have your hood up your cowl over your head?
Probably not. In the dead of night, it's
Yeah.
probably been pulled back so that I could kind of have more of a sense of what's around me.
Mm. What is your hair long, loose?
It's long. I don't know if it's loose. I've probably got it up out of that,
Yeah.
so it's not like in front of my face and covering my eyes or anything like that.
Mm. You look to your. I'm guessing you're going to look to the left, to the person holding the blade.
Yeah, I'm like very carefully just adjusting my head enough to where I can see the person there. Like there's very little movement of the head, just enough to where I can turn my eyes to be able to see them.
Yeah, you see the figure come into sort of your peripheral vision and move around, and you are moving your eyes across to try and find this person. and it's someone that's tall, with a broadsword in hand, and the male holding the sword says, "You are getting sloppy, Damrod."
It's I can't help it if you've all moved the entrance.
You should not be trying to find it in the darkness. There's still many things that wander the lands that are deadly to even us rangers. And then the female voice comes, "Yes, very few, very many indeed. Have you forgotten them? It seems you have forgotten your way. Um, Give me an intelligence save." You don't recognize these voices.
Well, Damron is 100% pretending like he does. Calling him bud and pal and all the words you call people when you forget their names.
Comrade.
He he says, I knew the two of you would be watching. If something were to overtake me, unless the both of you had fallen, which I don't think is likely.
The 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 person wielding the sword removes it obviously from near you, sheaves it. The the female steps out from the hiding position, relaxes the bow, um, puts the arrow back in the quiver, slings it back over her shoulder. "What is it that has brought you here, Damrod? Are you traveling with this caravan? We saw it approach the road traveling at night. We thought it was foolish. Who would be traveling at night at such pace?"
We ran into some trouble on the road. I offered my help, offered to travel with him, and we were ambushed on the road. Only one of the raiders survived. We lost a few of the caravan. Many of us are injured. And he kind of like moves a piece of his clothing like to the side to show part of his armor that's been pierced and is just bloody that he kind of like arranged his cloak or whatever to cover up.
Yeah, they, because it is dark, they can't see as such. But they see you sort of doing something in that sort of half light that you can sort of see in. But are you are you hurt?
Quite a lot. I have a couple of friends that are hurt as well.
You say raiders. What sort were they? How far?
I'll kind of describe what happened and like the short version of what happened and where it happened.
Hillman, you say? This
Yes.
far south? Are you sure?
They had a shaman with them as well.
A shaman? What are they doing this far south?
We have one, if you would like to find out.
You have one with you, traveling with you.
I guess you could say that.
You wish for us to take him and hold him. Her. I'm not sure which one it is.
If that's what's best. I could speak with him myself. But
No.
then something has to be done with him afterwards.
No, you are right to find us. We will take him. We will take the raider off your hands. We will hold him here. Your your father is gone. He left us here to watch.
For a second, Damrod, I don't know if they can see this in this half light, but when they say this, for a second, Damrod has this look on his face like, did my story just come true? When they just say that he's gone.
He is gone to find the old ranger in the North Downs. I'm not sure when he'll be returning, but he told us to stay and watch.
Well, at least we know the lands are safe here. At least this part. How do
Give,
you
give me
want
another intelligence save.
15?
Okay. Yeah, you sort of have pieced together who these people who they are. Um, they're Dunedain Rangers. Um, a little bit younger than you. Um, you would probably say that they're novices still. You know them. They are twins. One is called Riordil, and the other one is called Solus. The female is Solus, and the male is Riordil. Um, they're sort of your father's apprentices, shall we say? Um, and that they're learning under your father. It's sort of it's sort of what your father does. He did it with Aragorn to start off with as a mentor when he left Rivendell, and as one of the sort of chief captains of Aragorn, he he takes the younger ones under his wing and sort of teaches them the ways as such, um, and sort of trains them up.
So Dameron has been very like confident in these two, um, up until he kind of realizes who they are. He's not going to necessarily question, like in front of them, question their abilities. He's trying his best to trust in his father's judgment, but realizing who they are, he's a little more concerned, about his company and his fellowship back at the campsite. Not entirely sure if these two can handle, um, what could happen. Now that's nothing to necessarily reflect on their actual abilities. That's just how he views it. So,
Yeah.
um, how would you how would you prefer to procure the raider?
We
And
can move him to the sanctuary tomorrow. Blindfold blindfold it. You can you can bring him and we can secure him there until your father returns. We may be able to, if any others of us pass by, we may ask them to send word to your father.
do you plan to come and meet the caravan to take him, or are we doing this the secret way?
Um, we we can if you wish.
I'll leave it up to the two of you's judgment. As long as you can, I prefer not to drag the others into this. If you can meet and get the raider, and then bring him back without giving your position away. And he kind of has that like doubt in his voice as he's saying this part. Then that is acceptable from me.
Oh. Hold on then. Let me.
Somebody just had to release a shiny Pokemon.
They don't
20K
seem to pick
well
up on
spent.
you. They don't seem to pick up on your doubt. They will say, "We will come for your prisoner, your captive, in the morning in daylight. But now we shall go and watch and see if anything approaches for you."
Would they carry any kind of medicines that would help us in our situation?
They might have a poultice of some sort or something that might help.
Yeah, I would just
There'll probably be a store at the sanctuary for you, but yeah, I'm not. They may carry one a piece or something like that.
I think Damrod would just ask if they had any to spare, anything that, mention again that we had some people that were quite wounded.
They would get out maybe a bundle of aphalas plants. Here, you can take these for your wounded. Aphalas is, as you know, a good healer. We shall see you at first light.
Ah, yes, King's Foil. It's a weed. And he takes it and begins his journey back.
About an hour later, hour and a half later, yeah, we'll say an hour later. It's a little bit easier to get back. You can get back to the campsite. You've been gone certainly a lot longer than you was hoping to be gone for.
But it's not sunset the next day yet, so it's fine.
Yeah, no search party.
Yeah, look for my coming at first light. Look
On
for
the 17th day at sunset.
It's the fifth day.
what? So, Damrod has been gone for, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Like, time has been ticking by, and Damrod is still not back. What's the rest of you thinking?
Well, me and Rick didn't even know what he was doing.
Okay.
I would mention the other guy that didn't you have another one with you?
Yes, he's scouting around, and he'd kind of get a gauge of the time, and he would say, "It has been quite a long time since he's been gone. I'm sure he's fine. He's from this area, from what I understand. Um, is this unusual time to be scouting?"
I wouldn't say necessarily a bad time or unusual. Just we saw somebody with you, and now he's not here, and he kind of scampered off over there.
I'm in no position to go searching for him with the darkness.
Oh.
And I'm a foreigner to these lands as much as, well, maybe more so than maybe you all are. Should we give him a few more hours?
someone like him, I don't suppose he got lost. Give it a few more hours. And since you said you were gonna keep watch, Aurelian just has a book out, which is probably very confusing to you given it's pitch black, and he's just flipping through it like no big deal.
Well, like, do we have a campfire or something?
Not even that. He doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Well, like, yeah, if we have a campfire, he'd stay over by the campfire, and I would. He maybe be able to see, like, how far away are you?
Not too far.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, he wouldn't say anything about it. He'd just like kind of curiously tilt his head, kind of thing, like, huh. And if hmm, if Rook is still kind of around him, he'd say, do you see in the dark?
Eh,
Your kind?
we can see in a lot lower light than humans. He can probably read every word on that page right now.
Wow, fascinating race you are. Are there many of you? I'm so many questions. It's all of this is fascinating.
I guess
say
it
the
kind of
least.
depends on where you are. Will determine whether or not there's many of us. Right now, there's a shift in nature, so to speak, right now, and we're kind of just the majority of us are kind of moving on. And he wouldn't go into much more detail than that. Just kind of like, I mean, because all of us have seen the movie. You know, they're kind of just moving through the woods. They're kind of just moving on down the way, but he doesn't know that. Shaking your head at me.
Not all of us have seen the movie.
Not all of us have seen the movie.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert.
Earthy move.
It's fine. The movie's so old at this point.
They're-
It's my own.
They're
It's
going.
my own.
They're going towards the shore to go into the Undying Lands. Like they're all headed out.
As soon as you say that, like, you probably notice, Rook, just a noticeable shift in Aurelian's attitude to where he looks pretty mad when you say that.
Maybe I said too much.
Ooh, Papa gonna give you papao.
Don't worry.
He
Don't
looks
worry.
mad. I said too much.
He's just kind of
Don't worry. In April, I'm sure. At the end of April, I'm sure that's going to be remedied. The fact that he hasn't seen the movie.
Oh, it's got to happen.
It's got to happen.
Well, they kept me captive and made me watch them, so we just got to do that for Nate.
Oof.
Tie him down and give him snacks.
See, Derek tried that too, and I fell asleep. Like immediately.
You gotta like drink a Red Bull and then just watch them.
Yeah, like the dwarves started singing, and I went. It was,
Oh well, that's the Hobbit. We're talking about Lord of the Ring canon, are we not?
fuck if I know, man.
No, I'm
Yeah,
talking-
you,
no, I'm
you went the
asking-
wrong direction then.
We went backwards and forward. We got to do
I
that
went the
thing.
direction I was supposed to go. He didn't understand.
I have
Look,
no
we gotta,
idea.
I'm
we
so
gotta tie him
sorry.
down like a Clockwork Orange and make him watch it.
But yeah, I assume maybe Marikar would kind of notice that this may be prying too much into your history here, and he'd kind of lay off of asking about your kinds.
Oh no, Rook deserves it after the comment about, oh, you killed the guy really good.
No, see, Marikar is super polite, or tries to be. So he likes
Until you
to,
piss him off.
apparently so. Until you literally almost kill him.
Out of game, I almost want to like walk over to him like, sorry, I made the comment about you cutting somebody in half and how gruesome it was, but it's not against it because Aurelion's mad.
He would immediately forgive you. He is such a wholesome person, or that's the idea.
I would go and try to genuinely apologize.
Oh, he wouldn't take it. He would say, "There's no reason to apologize. You know, words are just words." And he would, he'd just probably maybe make some small talk about fucking fire or anything that's not your racial history.
We'd be talking. I would be talking about how I'm sure I'm getting on Aurelion's nerves by this point. I'm asking all kinds of questions. And
Oh no, it's strange. He doesn't seem to care at all. It was just the comment about like the undying lance that seemed to get to him.
yeah, get to that later.
Your shift ends, or does it, Marika?
I don't see him getting much sleep, if any. You know, if he does get to sleep, it would probably be very very uncomfortable, kind of maybe even waking up to a nightmare or two. But
Okay.
I would still offer him to take any kind of rest he can, and I would take watch.
he would try to sleep, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Rook, give me a perception check then.
Okay.
Okay. And I guess Damrod, give me a stealth check.
Nathan?
Bueller. Bueller.
I'm looking for the right button. Apologize. There we go.
You're able, Damrod, to actually get back into the camp to see everyone's asleep but Rook. Rook, what are you doing? To not to the point where you're not aware of your surroundings.
I am probably I take out that gemstone that I found and those knives, and I'm just kind of have them out in front of me, looking at them, trying to make sense of what these are and maybe how valuable they might be.
Okay.
Not aware of
the moonstone gem, or the moonstone itself. You know, the Elven King Thranduil, he loves his gems. He loves his jewels. You've seen many of them, you know, and this moonstone wouldn't sort of compare to that really, but you know, it has a beauty to it. You know, you don't know what the humans might want to pay for it as such, but yeah, but you know, compared to the Elven King's jewels, you know, this is nothing. But again, maybe it has an attractiveness to it.
I picked that up and just kind of put it away, look around, and I'd have be holding these knives. Like, what do I do with these? Other than that, that's kind of what I'm doing.
Damrod, you enter the camp and you see that the other elf, or the companion of Aurelian, because I don't know if you've been introduced to Rook yet, but the other companion of Aurelian is fiddling with something in his hands, staring off at it, and then slips it back into his under his cloak, and he's looking at these two long knives, long curved blades that the raiders had each.
Was Rook hurt at all in the battle?
I don't think I was there.
The battle?
What battle? No,
The one we just
wrong
What?
campaign. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, Kevin. I was thinking.
I mean, I wasn't at whatever battle you're thinking of either, so
Yeah,
no,
he did get hurt. I think he got caught by a few arrows.
Damn, sorry.
I think that Damrod would probably offer him a piece of this herb that he got, if he needed it. I think he would try to find some type of bandage or something like that if Rook hasn't already bandaged his wounds, and just offer him something as kind of like an icebreaker. Um, just kind of walk over. I know that you were injured in the fight as well. Have you taken care of yourself?
And at that point, he would realize actually no, he was trying to help other people, but had not actually helped himself. Look, kind of two pierce marks and not really. It hurts, but I mean, we have to push on. I didn't really think about it until right now. And I would take the herbs that he would pass me and kind of just try and press them into the wounds and see what that does.
He offers you like enough to where he's trying to help, but he offers you like a really small amount, because he knows that there's others that are more injured than you are.
I'd be suspicious then.
It's not enough to like. It's enough to be like, okay, this guy's trying to help, but it's like, I could probably use a little more of this, but
I mean, everyone can take a short rest and roll hit dice during this anyway.
Hit dice is a 2. That can't be right.
Say that again.
It says my hit dice is a 2.
You have 2 hit dice.
Oh yeah.
You should have 2 d8s.
Okay. The 8.
all right. Look at roll 20 and make sure my name says that I rolled a 10 plus 2 and got 12, because I don't usually
that's
roll
it.
that, so I want to make
That's it.
sure.
Yeah,
Nope,
no,
you got it, man.
you nailed that max roll.
I want to make sure that I was looking at the right name.
About damn time.
Yeah. Yeah, so Charlie, you only needed to roll let's have a look. Yeah, the first set of rolls, you only needed to roll the first one, right? Because I think you was only missing 7.
Correct.
Yeah, so you'd still have 1 hit dice left on your character sheet where it says hit dice. If you just click the hit where it says hit dice, it will roll your hit dice for you.
Oh, okay, right on.
And calculate your Constitution bonus as well.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know how healthy Aurelian was.
I think he was pretty healthy.
Yeah.
You're muted.
Sorry, I was saying that he looks almost as good as new now that he's had a minute to sit.
Yeah. But you've done well, patching yourselves up. The rest has done you well. Well, what rest you've had through the night anyway. Does Damrod try and get some sleep before light?
Yeah. He'd introduce himself to Rook and say a few short words to him, but you can tell that he is quite tired after the battle and having pushed this far, and he's gonna find kind of a spot to lean up against, have his back to a wall or something, and like an axe at his chest or whatever, and try to get some sleep.
A short introduction when he made his. I can tell he's tired.
Yeah. Give me a con save then, Nathan, for Damrod.
If
There's the max rolls again.
Yeah.
6.
You are going to take a level of exhaustion. just because you haven't managed to get enough rest this night.
That's fair.
But, um, the
I'll
the
quit hitting
night,
that button at some point.
yeah, the night does pass by, and first light hits the camp. Um, who is would Damrod have been up on time? Um, does anyone else rise pretty early with the first light?
I
Imagine
just
me,
be up.
right?
Yeah, I think Marikar would be awake, maybe still like kind of groggy, but he'd be up.
Mm.
I think Damrod is awake pretty quickly after everyone else, but he's kind of in that mode. He kind of has that feeling that you have in the mornings where you wake up and you're just like, I can't make myself move, and he's just kind of like he's attentive, but he's kind of groggy at the same time, and he's watching everyone else kind of start to wake up. But you can like see a little bit of that exhaustion on his face.
Um, yeah, you realize that the Solus and Riordal they were they were going to meet you at the camp at first light, um, and you don't see them here yet.
I think that's what finally gets Damrod up. Like he's blinking away the sleep, and he remembers that, and that's what kind of gets him up, and he starts moving quickly and kind of getting himself ready and getting things ready, and then begins to like look around for them.
Yeah, you stride like sort of you begin to get yourself up, and you start looking around, and you don't see them in the camp. But as you are making yourself known, um, they step into sort of the camp area. They sort of emerge out of the not the shadows, but out of the surrounding wilderness wildlife, um, and make themselves known as they approach you. The rest of the camp obviously looks up and starts seeing these two hooded and cloaked figures um, make themselves known and like begin walking into the camp. Um, the 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 two guards put their hands on their weapons, ready to draw them.
Aurelian will do the same.
I rack an arrow.
Damrod grabs his axe, or not Damrod. Marikar grabs his axe.
You can all be still. You can all calm yourselves. They are friends.
I look at Aurelian.
Um, I'll just nod to him and sheathe my weapon.
They're certainly not making any aggressive movements, even with everybody sort of beginning to grab weapons and such. But they did pause when everybody sort of reacted. Um, everyone looks towards Damrod, and Damrod says, they're friends, and they begin to sort of sheath their weapons and relax themselves a little bit. Their eyes drift over towards the large, stocky man with the axe.
Yeah, he puts it down, and he has a big old smile on his face. He says, "Hello, friends of Damrod, that is."
They both sort of throw their hoods back. Um, give me perception checks.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do that. Perception. I was trying to scroll down and it clicked the button.
What are you trying to say about us humans?
I didn't. You know what? Sorry. I don't know what else to tell you.
So he's got his foot in his mouth.
Aurelian, you can tell Aurelian that they look tired. They look like they maybe have been up all night. And they walk in and they nod towards Damrod, and one of them says, "We have done our best to look around and scout about, and we cannot see any signs of pursuit."
It's good news. What of the other matter?
They look down at the captive. We can take him now if you wish.
And Damrod looks towards Marakar. Do you have any further use of him?
Marakar looks at the hill folk dude, and he looks at him and looks at Damrod, and he says, "Are your friends taking him away as prisoner?"
That
We are.
And he says, "Well, I'm sure he's in good hands. I have no use for him. I've tried talking to him, and haven't gotten anything out of him." And he kind of helps get him up real politely, and he says, "All right, well, you're going with them now." And he hands him off, and he says, "He's been fed and watered, and
He
that's what the animal handling was for.
you get him up. You get him up,
Mhm.
and he looks over like at who you're talking about,
Mhm.
and immediately he just starts thrashing around. He's like, "No, Dunedain scum! I'll not go with them." And he spits, and he tries to turn and run.
Marakar would pin him to the ground.
"Get off me! I'm not going with those scum."
Rook would lean over and be like, "Friends of yours?"
We hate them. I hate them.
Why?
You will not understand.
That's a longer
Stranger to
story
these
than we have
lands.
time for.
Are you enemies? Is he a prisoner of some type of war between you two? And he'd look over at Damrod and ask that.
Damrod kind of like smiles, like a half, like not a happy smile, but
Yeah, just
like
like
a knowing, like almost a sad smile at the same time.
The other two would come over and stand like beside Damrod, looking down at the hillman struggling on the floor.
Marakar, can you raise him?
Yes, of course. And he would still trying to be as polite but forceful as possible. So just like maybe in like a bear hug. Just
Give me an athletics check.
I can do that.
As you're kind of raising him, Damrod will tell you, I need the back of his head and his neck.
Sure. And he'd kind of flip him over and kind of bear hug him with his back to you.
Damrod is going to draw his short sword. Looking at the guy, kind of look down at the short sword, and then with the pommel, he's going to strike him in the back of the head, trying to put him unconscious.
Yeah, you can do that. That's not an issue. Again, Marakar is quite capably manhandling this raider. Just too strong for him. No, this guy does not weigh the same as a hay bale sort of thing. Uh, yeah, and you hit him and he crumples in your arms, Marikar, and sort of slumps.
Yeah, yeah. Marikar, he'd kind of look a little shocked at that. Seemed a little aggressive for his taste, but yeah, you'd see he'd be a little uncomfortable with it, but he'd kind of flop him over on his shoulder and then kind of like motion to hand him off to the rangers.
Yeah, the two younger rangers, you can see maybe a little bit younger than Damrod, but they look weather worn and road worn as well. Um, Even though they look young, they look like they've seen plenty of travels.
Yeah,
Um,
Marikar
they
would
would sort
offer them some water.
yeah, they would take it, share it, hand it back to you, and they would say, "Their people, their their people hate us.
Why is that?
They, well, I guess we long ago we took their lands.
Ah, I see. Well, and they're, I mean, how long? Like last year?
They took they both sort of look at each other. Perhaps longer than that. Damrod, perhaps you should educate this one on our people's times here. No, um, young one, we our peoples have arrived here long ago, and she'll sort of look up and at the hill that you've sort
Mm-hmm.
of at the base of, and in the light of day now, as the sun is
Right.
coming up,
Yeah. Yeah.
she'll look at the ruins of the Tower of Amansul, the watchtower that was. And again, like that same look that Damrod had when he told you about it, you maybe
Mm-hmm.
see the same look in her face. Long ago, we came, and long ago we fell. But their hatred persists.
Mm-hmm. That can't be healthy.
It is the way of people, however, unfortunately.
Well, what do you plan on doing with him? If you don't mind me asking, I don't mean to pry.
We we have we have places of safety we will keep him, and our captains will decide on what is his fate. We must find out what his people were doing here so far south.
Hmm.
We must find out that, and then, well, I do not know what his fate will be.
Hmm. Marikar just kind of shakes his head and says, "Well, I I wish you safe travels to wherever you're bringing him. Um, Pleasure meeting you too." And he just kind of step back.
They do a sort of head bow. Um, what is Aurelian and Rook been doing during this exchange?
I'm kind of just standing off watching all this, not
Kind of
really contributing much to it.
watching it unfold just because
Would you be in view? Have you got your hoods up?
I've got my hood
my,
up.
my hood, yeah, my hood would have gone back up.
Okay. They probably look around at everybody else. Safe travels. Um, and they'll turn and sort of carry this guy out. You see that they put a hood over his head as well, and tie it so you won't be able to see anything.
That looks uncomfortable.
Yeah, Marikar, you can look up and you finally see in the light of the early day the ruins of what Damrod described as a great tower. All that's left are crumpled walls and huge stone blocks. Here and there, you might see a visage of a stone king around you somewhere.
Um, yeah, he'd finally see that and kind of look in in he's interested in it. He wants to go up and explore it, but he knows that might not be on the agenda today. Um, and he'd probably ask that Damrod, how long ago has it been since this is the tower you mentioned, right? How long ago has it been like this?
And Dameron gives you the exact number of years that the player Nathan
Cool.
does not know.
And the exact number of years that Lawmaster Kevin doesn't quite know, but it's roughly.
What?
Did I say that? Yeah, no, it's roughly. It's roughly like 1,500 years ago.
So
But
in like my age, it's been like yesterday.
yeah, it was like 10 years ago, something like that in your years. Yeah. Um,
Damn, you
yeah,
old as hell.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Um,
um, yeah, so I mean, Marikar would just be like eyes wide at just the amount of history that this place has seen. He never really put it into perspective. And he would say, "In your feud with the what were they called? Hillmen?"
yeah.
Um, he would say, he'd say, the your feud with them is longer than that.
Let me just. I shouldn't have doubted my sort of knowledge at this point. It was 1409 of the. It was 1409 of the third age. It is now 3000. It's like 3017 of the third age. So it's like 1600 years ago.
Wow.
You weren't that far off.
Dang,
Uh,
give yourself a point of inspiration for that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was pretty close.
Damrod looks at you and says, "It's more of their feud with us. We don't seek to fight them or harm them or even war with them as we once had to. However, they still harbor a grudge." And he kind of looks down at the ground for a minute. We still lose some to that grudge now and then.
Marikar just he just shakes his head or like nods his head, and he says, "So where are we heading to?" And he looks around at everyone.
You know, everyone keeps asking this, and we keep talking about going to Bree.
Well, how far is that?
About 25 hexes, as far as I can tell.
Huh. How many of that is in Elven hexes?
2, I believe.
It's about 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I think I've set it up as 66 miles. So maybe you're probably looking at 3 to 4 days, maybe.
Okay, well. He Marikar starts packing, and he's gonna check with the Carabineers and see kind of how they're doing before we head out. But yeah, that's about it. That's all I got.
Damrod is going to pass out the rest of that Kingsville he got to the Carabineers, and probably offer some to Marakar as well, because Marakar was pretty injured. I know we've done the short rest, but just kind of flavor wise.
Yeah, yeah, he would be very grateful for it, and he would try to offer you like I don't know, he just like searching for shit to give you in return. So
When you
and
look up like from searching and patting yourself, he's already moved on to like another Carabineer, just not even acknowledging the fact that he even like not even acknowledging the fact that there would be payment for this.
right, yeah, and he'd say quietly to himself, he goes, "That's a good guy, that one," and he'd finish up packing.
With that, if unless there's anything that Rook and Aurelion would be doing or saying,
Yeah, just packing up.
then we will wrap up this episode. The Watcher in the Hills, or Watchers in the Hills, and end episode 2. Well done, everybody. I think this one was really good.
I liked it.
It was good getting back into it after the holidays and having
Yeah,
such a
For
hiatus.
sure, yeah.
I think what you guys did really well this week was take what we'd obviously discussed and given you bit by bit about yourselves and each other and what your motivations are, and I think you all use them in game naturally to finally introduce and interact with each other. And you've done a great job sort of finally bringing everyone together as a group and interacting as a group.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
It was quite nice.
I
and
love
it's all felt very natural as well.
I love coming, I love getting some combat in, but I also really love coming back from a long break and getting a good role play session in.
Yeah.
So this role play was nice. This role play session was nice.
Very
Yeah.
good.
And just
And
what
Kevin,
I enjoyed.
I know it's like past midnight there, so I appreciate you taking time out of your,
Yeah.
I guess now early morning to
Yeah, it's
play
okay.
You-
I don't work. I don't work on Thursdays, so I sleep until
Right
like
on.
12 o'clock.
Good. I was gonna say.
I wish I could sleep that long. Oh my god, I wouldn't want to do myself.
I could sleep. No. Again, I thought it was all done very naturally, which is what I was hoping for when we brought. Didn't want to force people together. The characters together, and
yeah, it's always kind of awkward.
yeah,
Or often is.
brilliant. So thank you very much. You can all gain one more inspiration for that excellent role playing session.
Howdy.
Remember, you can have up to a maximum of 3.
Nice. Real quick, Kevin, for my Battle Fury, how many of those do I get at level 2?
I think you get 2 per long rest.
Oh, gotcha. Sounds good.
Right. So obviously, a long rest usually is you stop, you have an hour's break. That's a short rest.
Mm-hmm.
When traveling, so if you're in let's say you was in a dungeon, for instance, in this, then a short rest would be, you take a short rest during it. That's an hour. A long rest is, a normal 8 hours. However, when you're traveling on the road and you're doing adventures, it doesn't quite work that way. A short rest is effectively a long rest.
Right. I like
And
that.
then your long rest is going to be you get to somewhere safe, you can sleep in a bed, or you can sleep somewhere comfortable.
Yeah.
You spend like maybe a little bit more prolonged time resting. So rests are going to be done sort of that way around.
I like that a lot.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Okay, over to you then, streamer Nath.
All right. You guys got anything you want to plug or tease or anything you want to talk about that you got maybe coming up in the near future or anything?
Ray's got some stuff.
Yep, I'm almost all good to go on my VTubing stuff. I will have a promotion up soon. I'll be posting it in the Discord, and I'll be posting it on my Twitter.
I'm super excited.
I'm
If you-
so
If
excited.
you guys want to pre-follow me, I'm in chat, but my Twitch is ricochet_ray.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes.
There we go.
I don't yet stream, so I'm just here.
Mhm.
Do I follow you already? I do follow you already. Haha.
Oh,
Good team.
How about you, Nate?
Lots of stuff. I feel well. I'm trying to do lots of stuff. I just started doing YouTube stuff. Viva La Vega Gaming. In the future, there's going to be Viva La Vega podcast on YouTube as well. I'll be doing video podcasts. But if you want to check out Viva La Vega Gaming on YouTube, I am starting with a let's play of High on Life to kind of just. I mean, it's mostly just for me to figure out how to do video production and editing and stuff like that. But it's cool. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And then sometime this year, hopefully next time I'm home from work, I would like to do a stream to start streaming sometime this month, towards the end of the month here. I don't know what I'm going to do, but that's going to be the idea. So same with Ray, I'll be putting some stuff out on the Discord, and hopefully we can see some of everyone here for my stream to kind of as a debut.
Actually, now that I'm glad he kind of reminded me loosely. I'm going to be putting together a one shot called The Wolves of Welton. I think I've already talked to Kevin and Nathan about it. I'm going to run it with 4 people first, and then I will probably pull certain other people and run it again.
Yeah.
The reason I'm running it with Kevin, Nathan, Ian, and Baron, they're all DMs and games I'm in right now, and they will all give me like the best feedback on what I can improve
Cool.
on. So, at least at that point, I'll probably be asking probably you two and another 2 from another group, just bring you guys in together. So that's coming up semi soon.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
absolutely.
Well, it's a new year. Plenty of room for not only improvement but new projects and hopefully growth for all of us, both personally and in our different hobbies and in our different endeavors. So yeah, I wish you all luck, and I'm excited for everything that's coming out of this group and other groups. I'm really looking forward to it. I listened to like 7 episodes of the Viva La Vega podcast on my drive home from Texas. So I got caught up on the podcast and got a lot of Nate in the trip. I mean, to be fair, I was in 2 of the episodes, or 3 of the episodes I listened to, but
Still counts.
Right.
If you guys have, I'm gonna post the link in chat again, but if you guys haven't followed the podcast, you definitely should. The episodes with Tyler are always just freaking hilarious. Whether they're meant to be hilarious or not, they are.
He's just a funny fucking person.
Yeah. I was not sure whether to laugh or be creeped out by the fact that he thinks he's being followed by a succubus, but that was a great conversation. And then he's got 3 episodes with Jarl of Goats on there, which is where I'm about to head now.
Huge. It's
great episodes too.
Valuable conversation. He's got a lot of insight on stuff.
And I'm really hoping that a little thing y'all talked about at the end there can be worked out, where you and I and Jeremy from Erasmus Expeditions and Jarl of Goats can all get together and do something. I would absolutely love to do something like that.
I'm excited for it. If I can have that for my Twitch debut, that would be sick.
Everybody else might as well shut down.
Yeah. Yeah, but fuck, Jeremy's just so busy.
Yeah,
He's
he's
always
super
got
busy right
something
now.
going on. So, but yeah, well, I'm excited to get. If anything, man, you're always welcome on. If you want to roll something, we can do our first video podcast on Viva La Vega.
Dude, I'm always down. I always enjoy the
Oh, yeah.
conversation. So
Cool, man.
Hell yeah.
I don't know
Exactly.
if we're streaming it, but I'm gonna be in a game with Jeremy towards the end of January.
Nice.
In another one of
Awesome.
his Erasmus Expedition, his Expedition Engine games. It's called Acid Rain. It's going to be like a Mad
Ooh.
Max meets Hunger Games meets Escape from New York. I'm so freaking excited for it. It's going to be a trilogy,
Right.
which has never been done with the system that he made. But I'm super excited for it. I don't know if it's going to be streamed or not, but either way, I'm talking about it because I'm pumped for it. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
that being said, we got a few more things in the works on the channel. You know, I'm still plugging away, working on the Curse of Iris and working on my Whispering Dead game. I'm working on some promo stuff for that. Been playing In Sound Mind and love it, so we'll continue with that. And I bought a couple of games on Steam recently, and as well as downloaded some stuff off the Game Pass. So be looking for some new games on the stream here and there. Probably once we finish In Sound Mind. And we're also potentially getting me, Scott Dog, Dumpgraw, and Diamond X together sometime in the near future to play some Left 4 Dead 2 and try to run the campaign with the 4-man
shit.
squad.
What a
So,
classic fucking game.
Bring that back from
Left 4 Dead's
2009.
fucking awesome.
It's
Like, me and my wife play
underappreciated.
that shit.
Absolutely, and I'm hoping if we can get the scheduling worked out, we're gonna get the four of us together and we're gonna try to play through the campaign. And,
Oh, that's cool.
And see how it goes. So
My wife and I played that before we had freaking children.
All the time with the kids, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was BC before kids.
Yeah.
BK. Yeah. Before children. There. It works better. I've been up for like 29 hours now. So.
Yeah, that's what
Well,
happened.
let's let Charlie go to bed. Let's let Kevin go to bed.
I'm fine, dude.
I got to jump over Y'all Love Goats anyways. We should be starting over there at 9, so pretty soon. So thank you, everybody that was in chat. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you to all the lurkers. I will at least see you again Friday, probably for some more In Sound Mind, but who knows? Maybe we'll get something else in the mix. We'll see.
All right.
Charlie, hopefully I'll speak to you tomorrow as well for
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Middle Earth 2.0.
And he's gone.
Out.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in another dimension.
All right. Bye.